Hottest record.
It is with absolute joy that I say, Aurit, Sam Fender.
How are you doing?
Am I giving you good northeastern? Is that good enough?
I think it's brilliant. That's absolutely cracking. Most people completely butcher the Geordie accent, but that Aurit was perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That really means so much to me because, you know, I will always have a soft spot for the people of the northeast. Just huge hearts, always welcoming. Sam, we're going straight in. Hottest record. Get You Down.
Thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure. Now, all of your songs are personal, but you have gone on record and said that this is one of your most personal yet. Why make it a single? Why not let it just hide in the album?
Well, to be honest, a lot of the vast majority of the album is very, very personal anyway. I think we wanted to make this one a single because it feels like a festival tune. It's one of them songs that I've kind of think like, this is going to go down well. We did it at Reading and Leeds and the festivals we've played so far this year, and it's just like, it feels right for that kind of environment for big gigs. But yeah, it is pretty personal. You know, it's kind of about my feelings in relationships as a sort of how insecurity can get the better of you and all of that. But a lot of the whole album is actually about sort of insecurity and how sort of your childhood affects you, and the insecurities you take from childhood that affect you as an adult. I mean, yeah, it is kind of putting a big part of yourself out there, but I think people will resonate with it. You know, I think a lot of people have this similar sort of crack. So,
oh my gosh.
Hopefully.
Absolutely, and I think it's very important to let people know that just because, you know, you've become, I don't class you as a celebrity, and I'm sure, and I know you don't. I'm sure a word like that kind of makes you grimace, but you know, you got a profile now, and people, you know, people know who are people love your music, and I think it's important to let people know that, you know, just because you've had all this success doesn't mean that life is perfect.
No, it's a lot of it's about growing up. The whole record's sort of about my teenage years in Shields with my mother but this one is kind of more about how that time sort of affects your character when you go into relationships when you're in your 20s, you know, and how that kind of like, I carried a lot of sort of insecurities from that time, and it was only because of lockdown that I did a bit of therapy and then started having these things to sort of write about, because you pass up a lot of these moments in your life as insignificant until somebody kind of makes you chat about them. And then when you do chat about them, it was like, that actually makes a lot of sense why I react in this way to certain situations and etc. So that's where all of these songs came from. But I think people will get it, man. It's quite euphoric for being quite a self-deprecating lyric, you know. I think it's kind of the juxtaposition between the lyric and the sonics. It's interesting. I hope you like it.
I do like it. It's why it's Hottest record. This is Get You Down. So there you go. That was your second play of the brand new Hottest record, Get You Down, from Sam Fender. And let's talk about this this new album, 17 Going Under. Now I know obviously you're very excited to get it out there, and I don't want to get into the whoa second album, it's so scary chat, because I think people do that with artists a lot. I think there's almost too much put on what the second album is, quote unquote, supposed to be. Don't you find that?
Well, yeah, I do. I get it now that I've done it, but I had so many songs for the second album. I was like, this will be fine. Like, went in and did a load. I wrote about 60 songs for this album, and then finally whittled it down. But then, if you asked me the same question in January, at the beginning of this year, when I was like on the phone to the label, just going like, "What more do you want from me?" You know, and it's just like, yeah, maybe that was a tough time. But yeah, I think every album should be a challenge, you know. Like, and for me this time round, it was like, I found it very enjoyable because the first record I was learning how to make records, and I'd learned so many different sort of tricks that I had up my sleeve for the second one, that when I came into the second one, I was a lot more confident about my arrangement, my ability to write arrangements for strings and for brass. So this record's got so much more instruments on it. It's a grander, it's a bigger sounding thing, because I had the confidence to go in front of 10 people with cellos and violins and go like, right, I want you to play this. Whereas when I was doing Hypersonic Missiles, it was like, it was only a couple of years beforehand, I was like in my mom's on benefits, and I was like, I was like, how the hell am I in this position to be able to do this? You know what I mean? Now I felt like that when I walked in this time, it's like, right, like this is my job and this is how I want to do it and this is how I want it to sound. and it just felt like a lot more sort of normal to do this. You know what I mean? I think, which was quite freeing. I think there's a bunch of toe rags from Shields. It was quite freeing for it to go in and actually feel like we're allowed to do our job and not feel like we've got imposter syndrome all the time.
Listen, this toe rag and his mates did all right. Trust me. But I think we got a hint of it during your last live round, actually, because I still replay it, and I know it's going to carry on being replayed. Your Amy Winehouse cover and the ambition. You know, with that and the arrangement, like I could see there was a sense of like, okay, you know what, like it's all right to push myself. Like I can do this. Was that a bit of a turning point for you?
I think people reacted well to that one, and we had I think someone from Amy's old team contacted us and said that Amy would have liked it, and that like blew me mind. You know, like we'd done a couple of live lounges by that point, so it was kind of like we felt a bit more comfortable in that room anyway. I mean, it's very nerve-wracking going in there anyway, you know, for anyone that does it. But at this point, we were like, right, we've had a couple under our belt and it went well. I don't know, maybe we did have a little boost of confidence. I don't know. I don't remember what I was like on the day. I'm always normally just shaking, like when I come into live lounge.
Here it is, Sam Fender and his version of Back to Black by the incomparable Amy Winehouse.